victory music for a Victory Friday here on the Dawgs podcast. I'm going to be quite honest, a Victory Friday I was not expecting.
No.
So welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs podcast. All three of us in studio for the first time in what feels like forever, Josh, Justin, and myself. We're so happy you guys could be here with us on a Friday night to enjoy a big win over the Steelers. It might not be big in terms of season goals, but it's always nice when you beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially at home, who I believe we are now 5-1 against at home in our last 6.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you guys knew that.
I did not.
There's a whole bunch of stats about the game last night that were floating around beforehand, and I was like, man, those are some really nice numbers. Like the Browns were, I think, 6-0 on Thursday night football games.
Oh yeah, we're the freaking like the Patriots dynasty.
Dolphins.
Yeah, on Thursday night football games.
The Steelers are winless since 1980 against AFC North opponents on the road on Thursday night.
Man,
And it continues.
I wish you would have let me know these. I would have
You
dropped
got to
a
dig
big
like
parlay
really
down.
deep into the stats. It's like when ESPN used to put up a stat for LeBron. They'd be like, he's the first right-handed guy who can swing a baseball bat left-handed.
And wears a headband.
Yeah, who wears a headband and sleeps on his left side that made a free throw in the fourth quarter of today's game. It's
crazy
like
stat.
some of the stats they put
Crazy.
out are just stupid. But we'll get into the episode. Before we do, though, remember, if you want to get your thoughts and your intros on the show, head to the dogspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Make sure you tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of the new content we're putting out. Typically, it's a therapy session. Not today, though. Like we said, Victory Friday, and we're all very excited to be here with you guys. You can find us on all the major social media platforms. Just search at the Dawgs Podcast. If you prefer to just listen to the show, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and Google. And lastly, if you're looking for more Dawgs content, head to jointhedawgs.com. Become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page, get access to the private Discord, be a part of the Dog Pack Discord preview episodes, play fantasy football with us, get to know a bunch of Browns fans from all over the world, hang out with us on a pretty much day-to-day, minute-by-minute basis. The Discord's always going on. Get betting advice, get how to smoke meat advice. There's just pretty much anything you could want to know. There's a thread in the Discord about. So it's a good time for everybody. So that's jointhedawgs.com if you want to become an official Dog Pack member. And then one more thing I want to mention before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, we'll talk about this throughout. Our good friend Kenny Mack is doing a Movember campaign, which is money for cancer research for, I think, like men's prostate cancer.
Yeah, prostate, testicular.
Testicular cancer. Also for men's mental health. We always push it to try to help him get his goal. He does it every year in November. Kenny himself is a cancer survivor. We made our donation. Other people from the Dog Pack have made their donations. We want you to go to the link that is posted in the chat, but we're going to make it easy for you also. If you want to donate to Kenny Mack's Movember campaign, any super chat that is done during this episode will be donated to Kenny Mack's Movember campaign. So normally we don't ask you guys to give us money. We're very, we never ask for these super chats, but this one episode, if you want to load us up with super chats, every single penny we get from a super chat this episode will go directly to Kenny Mack and his Movember campaign. You'll be able to go to the link and see the donation made in our name from this episode, and also any new YouTube members that we acquired during this episode. If you 99 cents a month is a YouTube membership. So if you join our YouTube membership, you just jump on there, 99 cents. We'll donate it to Kenny Mack also. So again, any super chat, any new YouTube member today, we're going to donate directly to Kenny Mack. So help us out. I'll keep mentioning that throughout the episode in case we pick up viewers. But again, throw a bunch of money our way today. This is the only day of the year we're going to ask for you guys to throw a bunch of money our way. So fun game to get into. Before we start giving you all our thoughts, I know we got a couple voicemails. Let's just let somebody else kick off the episode and get to some of these voicemails.
We'll just hear from Kenny Mack himself to start it.
Yo, guys, happy Victory Friday. Man, there's a singer out there. She says something like this: Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes, but man, I don't mind this little Band-Aid for a relief, and it was a big win. Hey, EJ Knott, you called out Miles and you got yours. 3 sacks. You looked awesome, Miles. Guys, 2 points I made earlier from the week. If an NFL team gets embarrassed, they come back in a big way, and the Browns match the Steelers' intensity. The other thing that I mentioned, the Ravens and the Steelers, they beat the shit out of each other, and you know what? It freaking showed. The Steelers got off to a slow start. They couldn't get their running game going, and we got them, man. You know what? I said it all day. I'm going to say it again. Fuck the Steelers. You know what Steel City is today? It's Excuse City. Let's go Browns. See you next week.
Well put at the end.
Absolutely.
Just a big win for the Browns. I think it's obviously been a tumultuous season for the Browns.
Right.
All kinds of talk about, is Mike Vrabel going to be the next head coach? Even we put out a post about, is Kevin Stefanski, if we lose, especially if we lose badly in this game, is he going to survive? Because the Browns have a history of firing head coaches after losses to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then when they come out and they play inspired football. Yes. I mean, they played like a team that was 8-3, or 2-7 or whatever we were, 2-8 last night instead of 8-2 or what. Right. I'm backwards, but
I know what you're saying, bro.
Yeah, we played like we had something to gain.
Yeah.
Which sometimes it doesn't always feel like that. You know what I mean? Like you come out and you lay an egg against the Saints less than a few days ago. So to come out on a short week and kind of put a lot of that to bed, at least for 8 more days, I thought that was big for the Browns to kind of just like quiet the chatter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, it started with that defense for the first quarter was didn't give me a whole lot of faith and optimism for the rest of the game, because I think on offense, we ran 6 plays for, 19 yards. We had 3 total minutes of possession, I believe, in the first quarter. It was brutal. Yeah. Brutal. 2 3-and-outs, and just our defense, the energy was there from the jump. You felt it with Miles. It was like, man, I think this is going to be a Miles game. There's sometimes where he isn't as effective.
Yeah.
Not the case last night. He was all over the place. The whole TJ Watt, Myles Garrett thing was great this week, because when Miles was asked about it ahead of the game, I mean, his response, I don't know if you guys saw the video. I mean, he was so nonchalant about it and was like, hey, just let the better man win, but I think I'm the better one, or whatever he said. And it was like, he came out and showed it too.
Rick Atkins, thank you for the donation. We'll make sure Kenny Mack gets that. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
I thought I loved hearing Miles kind of talk his shit after the game. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if there's going to be a lot of people who are kind of like get pissed at Browns defensive players when they celebrate, especially after like we give up a big play or we lose, that kind of thing. But if there's one guy who deserves to kind of talk shit from the Browns and the Browns defense, it's Myles Garrett. And he almost never does.
Right. Yep.
You know what I mean? He's very just, kind of lets his play speak for himself. He's kind of he's kind of like a soft-spoken guy.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked him coming out and just kind of being like, I fucking told you so.
Yeah. Well,
what I mean?
He classed it up. I mean, he said, I got a lot of respect for those guys on the other side of the ball, and, but I think I'm the best one.
Yeah.
And
and the thing is, it was great last night because it was the opportunity for these guys to go head to head for the first time since Miles won the Defensive Player of the Year award last year. TJ Watt, we all know the story, cried about it, posted on Twitter, nothing I'm not used to, boo-hoo, woe is me, blah, blah, blah. And then they get this opportunity to go head to head and kind of show out for each, corresponding defense. And TJ Watt was a no-show.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, he had 2 total pressures the entire game. That was it.
Yeah, Jack Conklin kind of made him his bitch.
I know. I mean, now he's got to fight DeJuan Jones for parental rights.
Oh my gosh.
Well, somebody's going to be owing somebody child support.
Yeah. Well, it's bad. Like, so after the game, like everybody's talking about Miles and stuff, and the only thing I can really see about TJ Watt is Wyatt Teller blowing him up on that.
Which was awesome.
Winston touchdown run. Literally just launched him. Like,
it was awesome.
Sent him.
One thing I want to talk about this game. So just when I was coming in here, I kind of said we won this game, even though really, if you look at it, we didn't play that well. Like, we did some good things, but overall, we didn't play that well. They erased a 12-point deficit in about 8 seconds at one point. It looked like we were going to lose. And to kind of, this was a game that the Cleveland Browns always lose and the Pittsburgh Steelers always win.
Yes.
You watch that game and you thought, man, there's no way the Steelers should win. How did they win? And this felt like it was going to be another one of those games. Just to kind of put that in perspective, shout out to Chef Brian for the YouTube dog pack. We will make sure Kenny gets that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
The Browns lost the turnover battle by 2.
Yep.
Failed to convert 2 third downs. They were 1 of 10. Didn't score a return TD. They were outgained on offense. Teams with that combination over the last 30 years were 0-67.
That's crazy.
Wow, that is the type of game that on the reverse is always happens to us.
So when I say, guys, we didn't really play that well. I left this game going, how did we just win that game? This must be how Steelers fans feel all the time. You know what I mean? Like they watch the game, they're like, man, they're bitching the whole time, they're complaining, we suck, and then we won. This is how they feel, I guess, because I watched that game and thought, man. First of all, late in the fourth quarter, I was sending messages to the Discord and in a text group. I was like, this game's going perfectly for the Browns. It's been fun. It's been competitive. It's been worth watching. And we're still going to secure good draft position. Once they took the lead, I thought, there's no freaking way we're going to win this game. And I wasn't even mad about it because I've gotten to that point in the season where it's just like, as long as I can still watch fun, competitive football and we can still stay in the top 2 or 3 in the draft, that is about as perfect as we could ask for right now with the way the season's going. And then we go and win the game. And I was like, how the hell did we win that football game?
I know my wife is, she's new to Browns fandom and we're sitting there watching the game. I'm like, there ain't no way we're winning this game. She's like, oh, you're a great fan. I'm like, honey, I've watched a lot of Browns football over the years. We blow these games all the time.
I was sick watching it last night because I've seen it.
I know. Right?
Other than maybe last year, you know what I mean? Last year I felt like I was like, oh man, like that was different. That felt new.
Right.
But, in those situations, but obviously they go ahead and I'm just like, well, there's no chance, that the Browns fan in me, that's where I'm at right now at the point of the season. I'm like, oh, well, that was fun while it lasted, and I don't know how they pulled it off. It was, the conditions on the field obviously played into it a little bit, but
we played in the same conditions.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
We can, do you guys want to talk about George Pickens at all, or do you want to save that for later?
Absolutely.
Speaking of the conditions.
Yes. I was just going to say the conditions in thinking of George Pickens and how we talked about TJ Watt kind of throwing a pissing fit on Twitter last year when he didn't win the defensive player there. For a team that prides themselves on like physical and toughness and we don't care, they're kind of a bunch of mentally weak pussies. You know what I mean? Like George Pickens is a head case. Oh, I don't think they're that good. Well, then what does that make you? He just can't handle the tiniest little thing is just sets him off. He's a freaking head case. Have fun with them. It'll be Chase Claypool, Antonio Brown all over again. Only with
forgot one. Juju.
Yep. Yeah. At least Juju produced.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? And it's just like he's just another one of these guys that 3 or 4 years from now he's not even gonna be there.
That's what I said. I said he's on his path to irrelevance. So that last play of the game. I know there's a lot of stuff going around on Twitter and everything, but you go back and watch, and some people weren't sure exactly what happened. They're going Hail Mary down to the end zone to try to last ditch effort to beat us. He's not even focused on the play. He's not even trying to make a play, make the catch, or try to help his team win. He's got an arm around Greg Newsome's helmet, dragging him into the back of the end zone up against the wall and starts punching him.
Yeah, I don't know how he's not going to get like a suspension or a fine or something.
What was Newsome's quote after the game? He said he's a fake tough guy.
Fake tough guy.
Fake tough guy. Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, and then there's refs and there's cameramen like trying to pull these guys apart, and it's like you bailed on your team. Completely bailed on your team for trying to help. I mean, you might as well not even run the route. Put somebody else in there to go down and try to catch a ball because he was nothing for them.
Timu Antonio Brown with Chase Claypool. That's freaking awesome.
That's awesome.
If you go back and watch the last Hail Mary, first of all, Russell Wilson might still be laying on the field.
Yeah, he got
freaking murdered. And then second, if you go watch, not a single Steelers wide receiver attempted to go catch the ball. Nobody was even looking. George Pickens wasn't the only one. He's over fighting Newsome. I don't know what anybody else was doing. Russell Wilson stands in the pocket and just gets obliterated. And if he goes back and watches that replay, he's going to be like, guys, what the hell?
I did that for free.
Yeah. I threw it right up and there's all these guys. And then the Browns literally could have just watched the ball in the air. They could have not knocked it down. They could have just ran away.
I know there was like 3 Browns that were trying to bat it down. It's like they were like nervous. Like, is it just us?
There was nobody there. I'm just, what is going on?
Everybody?
But no, it's just, they're just mentally soft sometimes, all the time. I'm going to make fun of them for it. But there's good things in this game. I wanted to talk about Jerry Jeudy.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mentioned, I put it out on X last night after he made a couple nice plays. I said, Jerry Jeudy, ever since we started getting just halfway competent quarterback play, has looked pretty solid.
Yeah.
And he's
like a steal.
Yeah, he's on pace for around 70 catches and 1,000 yards. And that's playing in a really freaking bad offense.
Right. Yeah, I've got the stat breakdown. You want me to read it real quick? Yeah. So this does not include the Cincinnati game where it was Watson, DTR, Jameis, like that. I didn't even include the stats for that game. But 6 full games with Watson, Jerry Jeudy had 36 targets, 20 receptions, 248 yards, and 1 touchdown for 41 yards per game. In just 4 games with Jameis Winston, 2 fewer, he's got the same targets, 36 targets, 24 receptions, 4 more receptions, 379 yards, and a touchdown for 95 yards per game. I mean, that's huge. I looked at the stats from last night. He ran 55% out of the slot, 38% out wide. They're moving him all over the formation. They had him in the backfield for a 4th down play.
Like a little window dressing.
Yeah, to give Nick Chubb that fullback spot up the gut. Like, they're moving him all over the place.
Not to take any like spotlight away from him, but I think everybody kind of looks, other than Tillman had a rough game last night, but I thought Elijah Moore's kind of flashed now,
No, the longer I was down on the Browns wide receiver core, and the longer I watched them play with Jameis, and he's had 2 good games and 2 bad games. It's been the full Jameis experience so far.
Right.
The more I come away thinking this wide receiver core could be pretty solid with a quarterback, and if they could add an X factor guy, just to add a difference maker, even if it's not like I've said, Justin Jeffersons don't grow on trees. It's very hard to just go out and find a Justin, but just a guy who just scares you. And maybe it's Jamari Thrash. I would freaking kill to see this guy get to play. What is going on in practice that he's not?
He was on the field a little bit last night. I saw him out there.
Can we just get this guy the ball somehow?
See what he can do. I would argue that Winston's record as a starter is 2-2, but I don't think he's had 2 good games, 2 bad games. The Saints game, he was almost 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
That's true. So the
offense itself just wasn't. We have no run game, nothing to support him.
The only bad game was the Chargers game.
Yeah,
and it was really bad. But now that you mentioned the Saints, he actually balled out. I just was thinking in my head about the loss.
Yeah. I mean, overall, he's playing very well, and I think the offense believes in him. The guys like him. He's a leader. They want to follow him. I love the energy he's bringing to this offense.
Jerry Jeudy, since week 8, is 5th in receiving yards per game at 94.8. Like you said, on the only receivers he trails is T. Higgins, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson.
I'll take it.
Very impressive.
So he's been really solid. I've been really impressed with Jerry Jeudy the last month.
The first part of the year, we were like, man, maybe we've traded for this guy and paid him a little too early and all that kind of stuff. And now we're seeing with competent quarterback play, all right, maybe we got ourselves a guy.
Yeah, I've enjoyed what I've seen. And like you said, the entire wide receiver core, I think, has a chance. We just got to get consistently good quarterback play. And that goes a long way into helping your wide receivers out. Before we move on, again, now that we picked up some more viewers, reminder, any super chat we get today will be 100% donated to Kenny Mack's Movember campaign. So hit us up with your super chats, any amount, or any YouTube member today that will also be donated to Kenny Mack. So again, we don't normally ask for money, but as much money as we can get today that's helped Kenny get to his goal. That's what we want to do. Another guy who had a really good game, and then after this we can get to another voicemail. Dalvin Tomlinson had 10 pressures.
Yes.
And I maybe he listened to the show last week, because I kind of talked about when was the last time we really heard from him. He hasn't 10 pressures from the interior.
You don't see that very often at
No,
all.
he balled out.
Yeah. I was so impressed with him. Mo Hurst coming through on that 4th down stop to hit. And Jalen Warren he was a guy last night running the ball that I kept thinking he's going to break one.
Yeah, for sure. He already has.
He's got the seam.
Yeah,
he's got the speed. He's able to get through there. Najee, I wasn't so worried about. It seemed like every time we were pretty much bottling him up. But when Warren was getting the ball, like, he's going to break one at some point. But to stuff him on that, and that was Mo Hurst just.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I continue to be impressed with Hicks too when he's on the field.
Yes.
I feel like he's
he's getting dogged on social media a little bit. I don't understand it. Like, I think Hicks has been a good player for us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. Maybe he's not the world's best pass defensive.
No, but that's where JOK, but we don't have him,
Shout out Tony. Thank you so much. Let's get Kenny to his goal. But yeah, the defense though. So it was obviously in the first half was insane. I still get very annoyed with our defense. 3rd and 7+ might as well be 3rd and 1. I've never seen a team give up so many 3rd and longs that are just, and it's not even hard. There's just a guy wide open every time. And that and a mobile, we cannot stop a read option. If the Steelers should have just kept Justin Fields in.
Oh man, he was.
Yeah.
His one drive he came in, they went right down the field. We had no answer.
Well, it's because he hit the sideline for like a 30-yard run.
Yeah, they should have. I don't know why they took him out. To be honest, Russell hasn't played terrible since he became a starter, but I didn't know why they took Justin Fields out to begin with.
Yeah.
And so there's some things about this defense that still can drive a guy nuts.
Well, you got, your speed guy, Calvin Austin, getting down the field behind the secondary. It's like, good Lord, guys, what is going on? I felt like Thornhill again out of position on quite a few of those bigger plays down the field. Who was the guy on the sideline? Van Jefferson. Again, it was like a 26-yard pass. I'm like, every game, these guys just find the area in the zone, and it's like we don't know what we're doing. And then they just get those big plays. But like I said before we started the show, it was kind of like a bend, don't break last night. We definitely we stopped them in critical situations, which was awesome. We gave up some big plays, but ultimately we were able to keep them from scoring until the end. Right. Most of the game, the defense was pretty darn good overall.
I agree. Especially like you said at the beginning, like there was a couple, I want to say it was in the 3rd quarter. It was either 2 or 3 drives where it was just very, very easy. Our defense was just getting shredded. And then, that ultimately led, and then we were having turnovers also on top of that. And I'm like,
the offense in the second half, man, we get the ball to start, and it's like, hey, maybe we were driving down, got some big chunk plays, and then Tillman gets smashed, fumbles the ball.
Yeah.
And they get it right back. It's like, oh man.
I want to talk about, let's do a voicemail first.
Okay.
So we don't run out of time.
No, yeah, that's good. So we'll get Stacy on here.
Woo! We got a Cleveland Browns win. Finally. It was long overdue. I'm a little confused about if I'm happy that they won or not, because I do obviously have my eyes on draft picks at this time. But it is always nice to beat a rival, I will say. That being said, if only the Browns could beat other teams the way that they beat teams in our division, then we'd be looking all right. Anyways, go Browns.
Yeah, if we could just do that against teams that aren't good, that'd be great. Like, the Giants and the Raiders, the Cowboys.
Keep going.
We just
the Saints.
Keep going.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna be mad that we win games. As much as I've said the smartest thing to do is just to lose a bunch, and so we can get the good draft pick. I want to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude.
And I especially want to beat the Steelers.
I've seen so much stuff about the draft pick thing, and now we're 7th overall pick, and I'm like, we have seen so many, not just the Browns obviously have botched first round picks.
Yeah.
Galore. But you see it every year from every team. Every team botches picks in the first round. And for me, whether I'm picking, as the Browns 3rd or 7th or even like 10th or whatever, I don't care. Either way, it's a high pick in the draft. You're going to get a good player as long as you do your scouting correctly. I want to beat the freaking Steelers. And especially on prime time, like that was worth all of it.
Shout that out real quick, and then I got something.
Fatal Gnome, $30 to Kenny Mack. You are my favorite Canadian sounding American.
Love you, Fatal.
Thank you.
No, my thing with just the whole wins and losses and all that stuff is I went through a period, and we all did, where if we had 1 or 2 wins a year, it better be against either Pittsburgh or Baltimore. You know what I mean? That used to be like the only thing that we looked forward to through all those bad years, which I feel like it felt like that a little bit leading into last night's game. But I mean, to beat Baltimore and Pittsburgh, I know we were only at 3 wins. We can't really sit here and talk shit. And
I want to, when you talk about, how if you're only going to win a couple games, beat Baltimore, beat Pittsburgh, Kevin Stefanski, since he was hired as head coach, he is 26-14 at home, and he's 11-4 at home against the AFC North.
It's impressive.
So we can table that. Let's listen to a voicemail, but I think we got to talk about Kevin Stefanski and the coaching thing, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Before I play Brad's voicemail here, I did just want one last comment on the whole draft pick thing is like as a football fan, and like we played in school and stuff, it's just the competitive nature. I just can never get myself in that mindset of tank,
which is
let's go lose, because I look at a team like the Giants, right, who just benched Daniel Jones for the same reason the Broncos benched Russell Wilson a couple years ago, for the injury, contract clause, all that kind of stuff. And instead of going to their backup, which was Drew Lock, they decide, well, we're going to make Tommy DeVito, the third string guy, the starter, because
screwed Lock, by the way.
Oh, big time. But
best,
they're not trying to win, obviously. And I would like, if that was my team, it's just like, man, that sucks as a fan, to do that and know that, well, now I can't watch competitive football for the rest of this year, and who knows what next year is going to be like. I don't like that mindset. It's just,
I know we're like super up and down football team, but like the Giants have to be like one of the most dysfunctional teams
They just released Daniel Jones.
Yeah, just straight up released him. Yep.
I mean,
they had him playing.
He asked.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah. Honestly, that might be the best thing they've done for a player in a while. You know what I mean? Like they at least they granted it. He asked. They're not I heard that in his first practice, he went to fourth string, and then he was
a safety scout. Yeah,
really?
He was playing safety.
And so
in his press conference, he was just busted his whole.
So that for them, they did him a favor. He was like, I don't want to be playing safety on the scout team out here. Can you please just let me go if you're gonna? And they were like, okay, yeah, sure. So that might be the best thing they've done for somebody.
But still, just as a fan of the team, like that's I feel for fans of those franchises. Yes, the Browns are not doing well this year.
Yeah, we had a window,
but we have good players on the team, that are still fun to watch. It's not like it's completely devoid of talent. But all right, here we go, Brad.
Assemble Browns fans. We beat the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. How about them Browns? Yeah, boy.
I mean, I got free tickets to this game. My wife surprisingly said she didn't want to go. I mean, I had my expectations in the sub basement for this game, and it was an awesome game. Like, honestly, when I came to the stadium, it had that like Thursday night playoff atmosphere. I don't know why, but it just had that feel. Then the snow, then everything, and the game was just back and forth. Is there some things we could clean up? Sure, whatever. Game has seemed on. I mean, that one interception, whatever, who cares? It was a great game. Defense on, Myles Garrett, crowned the king. And, it was a great all-over game. And where's TJ Watt? Did you guys see him? I didn't see him anywhere. And, frauds. Steelers are frauds. Here we go, Browns. Let's go, guys. Roof, roof, roof.
I did want to say real quick before we forgot, shout out Nick Chubb for putting up 2 touchdowns against the team that destroyed your knee last year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I do want to talk about what do the Browns cannot run the ball.
Dude, they are destroying Nick Chubb's career yards per carry.
He had 20 carries for 59 yards at 3 yards a carry last night. His longest run was 7. Some of that is he's not all the way back yet, I don't think. Is he going to get all the way back? Blocking, I think some of it has to do with we run so much out of the shotgun. We have to be able to run the ball better. And I understand in today's NFL, you're going to be probably more pass than run, but you still have to be able to lean on the run game sometimes, especially when you have freaking Nick Chubb. And it's making us very one-dimensional. It's part of why you can have a quarterback throw for 400 yards against the Saints and only score 14 points, because you get down inside the red zone, the field shrinks, it becomes much harder to pass the ball, and you can't run the ball, and you become one-dimensional, and you got to settle for field goals, and you have a field goal kicker that can't make a field goal. So you ask, how can I have 500 yards of offense and only score 14 points? It's because you can't run the ball.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not even 500. It was Jameis throws for 400. We had 435.
Yeah.
It's total. I mean, it's really bad.
Got to keep them honest. You have to keep the defense honest. You know what I mean? If you completely abandon the run, I like that they gave him 20 carries. I watch him though, and I'm like, that doesn't look like the same guy from 2 years ago. So I don't think he's healthy. I'm not a doctor or anything, but he doesn't look like.
We talked about it all.
Breece Hall,
we were not expecting him to come back and be Nick Chubb. I mean, maybe next year, but this year's going to be tough. It's a tough ask. But Blake, to what you were saying, I was looking at that today. I wanted to see what the actual numbers were, and the Browns are a 70-30 pass run ratio. That's like one of the highest in the league. I mean, we're not even close to 50-50. I think we looked last year. I think we were 55-45, if I remember the numbers right. 66% of our plays are run from the shotgun. 26% of the run plays are from the shotgun. That's the 11th most in the NFL. So pretty high. I mean, they're top half of the league in running out of the shotgun, and it does not work.
I don't understand why we don't run more play action, you know? I mean,
well, because they know we're not going to run.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like at least commit to it to a point where you can at least keep them honest.
Well, we talked to Greg Pruitt, remember, and he said, you know, there's this, the Browns try to do this RPO, but we talked about like you can't RPO without the R.
Right, that's fair. Yes, absolutely.
You know, and I never thought I'd say this, but I miss some of the principles of the Stefanski offense with the under the center play action boot. Defense doesn't know where the ball is. Every play looks the same. You know, I might hand this off to Nick Chubb 5 times in a row, and on the 6th time, you think Nick Chubb has it because we're so good at making everything look the same. It keeps the defense. There is none of that this year.
You remember some of those plays where like Joe Flacco would do the play fake, the play action, then he would roll out, and David Njoku was wide open.
Yeah, and
there's nobody around.
You watch the replay from the end zone angle, and the entire defense, all 11 guys are flowing this way, and Joe Flacco, and it's because everything looked the same. A pass looked like a run looked like a pass, and it kept the defense. There's no guessing right now. It's just we're in shotgun, it's a pass.
Yep.
You know, and there's we're not even in a pistol. So if Nick Chubb's on the left, he's probably running to the right if he's getting it. And if he's on the right, he's probably going to run to the left.
Yep, there's no way to disguise that.
Yeah, because Jameis Winston's not pulling it.
No.
You know, it's not. We're not even reading it. A lot of times with the zone read, you're reading, you know, the backside. We're not reading. We're just handing it off, and then we're not blocking the backside outside linebacker, and he's just coming down and making the tackle from the backside because it turns out they're professionals, so they can do that. And it's just the run game is bad.
I don't like seeing Nick Chubb run out of the shotgun because that just doesn't utilize his skill set the best. I feel like he is better utilized. Get him with a head of steam running toward the line, and then let him make his cuts, use his vision and his power. Whereas whenever you snap the ball 5 yards in the backfield and then hand it to him, he's got to go from a complete standstill. You know, I don't like it.
And they're
getting
blown up in the back already on some plays.
So I wanted to talk about Stefanski before I do, though. Again, I'm going to plug Kenny Max Movember. I think we're up to $70 so far this episode. Let's try to get to 100. Again, every super chat, every new YouTube member, this episode is going to go directly to Kenny Max Movember campaign. So let's try to get 30 more bucks at least in here and give a good $100 donation to Kenny Mac tonight. To everybody who's already donated to join, we greatly appreciate it. And I know Kenny does also. Kevin Stefanski, I know the Browns came out before, you know, late in the week and said, or the Browns didn't come out, but Adam Schefter reported, and he's connected obviously. And he's basically said, Kevin Stefanski's not going anywhere. Like, he doesn't think his seat's really hot at all. That makes me feel better.
Yeah, huge. I don't know. I guess it depends on like what you want as a fan of the Browns. If you're over it, if you think that you want a new coach, then you probably don't want to hear that. For me, I've just watched us for the last 30 years try to figure it out. And at one point last year, I said, "Oh, hey, we finally figured this out. This is such a relief that we don't have to go through this every year, or every 2 or 3 years." So to hear this, because for me, I thought for sure he was getting fired. Like every week that went on, I was just like, man, it can't get any worse. It cannot get any worse from where we're at right now, and it would still get worse.
Yeah, as a Browns fan, you're right. The trajectory of the season, what we've seen, it's like traumatized flashbacks of, well, everybody's getting fired. This is just what happens here. And you're right. Whenever that came out last night, that Rappaport, right, was saying, or Schefter saying, you know, he's good to go for 25. I'm like, good. I need to hear that.
Yeah.
My thing with this is a lot of the people saying Stefanski needs to go they're the same people who say, look how stupid the Browns look for getting rid of Baker. You know, sure. So you're mad at the Browns for moving on from the quarterback that you think is the guy because he's playing well now 2 years later. What are you going to say then if we get rid of the coach and 2 years from now he's taking some team to the playoffs? You know, and Stefanski, I get so pissed at people who talk about him. He doesn't motivate. He can't lead the locker room. They don't like him. Did last year not happen? Did I imagine last year?
No, it did.
You know, did I imagine 2020? Like, even good coaches have bad seasons. Sometimes
he rallied the team through Zoom.
Yes, sometimes good coaches have bad years. You get injuries, things just, it sucks. We as fans don't want to admit it. Kyle Shanahan has a lot of bad seasons out in San Francisco. Bill Belichick was awful before and after Tom Brady.
How great were Sean McVay's years whenever Stafford was out?
Yeah, not good.
Not good.
You know, so it's just, good coaches have bad years. Sometimes it just doesn't come together. You don't blow it all up because of one bad year.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
Don't be stupid.
No, I've seen so many people that they, for whatever reason, they want Kevin Stefanski to be fired, but they're supporting Ken Dorsey. Like, I don't understand that. Saying that Kevin's responsible for the offense being so bad for the first 7 weeks because he called plays, and now, you know.
I'm very happy that Kevin Stefanski's staying, but I do think that they need to evaluate the coaching staff at the end of the year.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that there's probably going to be some changes.
I want Dee Podesta to be gone, and I want Kevin to have free reign of just get the guys he wants, and because I don't think this staff was the guys he wanted.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It doesn't look as cohesive as it has in years past, which I think plays into the miscommunications, the sometimes being unorganized, and all that kind of stuff, because they're not all on the same page. It's being a forced marriage doesn't typically work. And maybe he liked Ken Dorsey and that's who he picked, but that's because he was told he had to pick somebody.
Well, do you remember, like,
you know what I mean?
Hugh Jackson with Todd Haley?
Oh man.
Yeah.
That was a forced marriage. He didn't
Yeah.
pick him because he wanted him. He didn't want to give up the offense or the play calling. They made him.
And this is also, before you come at us, we know this is speculation. Maybe Kevin was all on board with making the switch, but it's hard to look at these results and think, yeah.
Especially after and I know if you go back and think back to whenever they came out in the news reports, they fired Van Pelt and all these offensive coaches. And I think initially we were kind of like, really? I mean, we just went 11-6 with 5 different quarterbacks. I can't believe we're.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I was excited.
We were excited at the prospect of getting in this new, some new minds. But then the people they started hiring, we hated the Ken Dorsey hire at first.
Yeah,
and we should have just stuck with it.
Yeah, I think we were cool. I think we were cool with like Deuce Staley. We were happy with. I think Tommy Reese we were kind of excited about getting, but we definitely didn't like Ken Dorsey. We talked ourselves into being okay with that.
Yeah.
it just isn't working. You know what I mean? Like if we're going to have Kevin, either get an offensive coordinator who is going to bring like an actual, this offense still doesn't feel that modern to me. You know what I mean? There's still not a lot of, I'm still not seeing tons of creativity, and we still don't motion like ever. And when we do, and when we do, we get an illegal motion penalty. So either that or just give Kevin his football team back. Yep. The football team that he took to the playoffs 2 out of 4 years, you know, and won Coach of the Year twice.
Well, that's
let's just let the guy. If you think he's the guy, you just gave him an extension.
Yeah.
So then just let him be the guy. And to all the people who say, been here 4 years and nothing to show for it. Well, one, we've been to the playoffs twice, and I know the goal is Super Bowl, but making the playoffs is how you get to a Super Bowl, first of all. And most coaches in the NFL hover around a 500 win percentage, and they don't go to the playoffs every year. And you know what I mean? Like, you go find me the coaches that just win 12 games every year and go to the playoffs every year. There's maybe a couple, John Harbaugh, Andy Reid.
They're not coming to Cleveland.
You know what I mean? Turns out they're not looking for jobs.
Right.
No, but
they're safe.
What else do those coaches have consistently that we don't have?
A quarterback.
A good quarterback.
Yeah. But now here's the thing, though. I've seen Stefanski be wildly successful with a lot of quarterbacks.
Yes.
Like a lot of them now. All of them except one, you know, honestly. So I don't know. I'm with you, Blake. I think I do worry that there's meddling from up top. You know, I do think that sometimes Jimmy Haslam gets involved, and that's where I'm interested to see what they do at the end of the year as far as like with Andrew Berry, you know, like, are they going to be just trusting and everything with him just doing a top 10 pick?
So I'm okay with let's get rid of DePodesta
Yes,
Sure.
please.
and either let AB make the picks, and then so we know if they don't work, then we know who to blame, or go out and get a John Dorsey type guy, which we already had once, obviously. Like he's not the GM in Detroit, so he can't take all the credit, but he obviously is playing some kind of part. You know, there's a correlation there between him getting there and them having tons and tons of talent. So he's obviously helping. So go find a football guy. Stefanski and Barry can analytics. They can be the analytics guy. So go get a football guy then so it can balance it out. I think the Browns use analytics as a crutch sometimes.
Yeah.
And it needs to be a tool, not the only thing that you base your decisions on.
Did you guys watch that video that Brad posted in the Discord about Paul DePodesta?
No.
Okay.
I didn't get to watch it yet.
Yeah, so I watched through that, and go watch it. Check it out. I don't have the name of the guy who does it or anything. I'll post it later or something. But basically, he was talking about how Paul DePodesta's mindset from baseball cannot translate to football because football is so limited. Like in baseball, you have 162 games to develop guys and like get your team chemistry together, and you might start out slow, but then you can go on a run and make the playoffs. All this kind. You have 17 games in football. You can't. There's no time for that.
Yeah.
And in baseball, there's multiple different farm leagues, and guys, you might draft a rookie and then he's going to stay in a farm league for the next 6-7 years and develop. You can't do that in the NFL. You draft guys, they need to play right away or at least contribute because you've got them on a contract for 4 years. And then after that, they might not even make it through the rookie deal and they're gone.
Yeah.
So the mindset is different. And, he was using Anthony Schwartz as a good guy, like a comparison for that, a good example of, well, let's draft this guy who's got these, one or two elite, abilities and see if we can develop him. Well, you can't do that in the NFL. You don't have the time. And so I thought that was interesting. And the other example was, it was the first baseman, Hatteberg for the A's, and they weren't going to play him. And so what DePodesta and Billy Beane did was they traded the other guy. They traded him away, so they forced the team to play the guy they wanted at first base. And
we're talking about Moneyball now.
We're talking about Moneyball. And he likened that to Deshaun Watson and Joe Flacco, where the team said, no, we're not even going to make this an issue where Joe Flacco outplayed Deshaun last year. We're trading him. You will play Deshaun Watson. And you go through the video. It was very interesting. Opened my eyes a lot about DePodesta and what he does behind the scenes.
What's the over-under on we see DePodesta at all on Hard Knocks? I would just be curious just to see what he's doing.
He would be on a Zoom call. He's not around here.
It's kind of
He's in California.
Yeah. Put that Zoom call up.
The Hard Knocks, man. What a great year for Hard Knocks.
Yeah, no shit, bro.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Like,
I don't even know what to expect. Is it going to be exciting? Is it going to be
who knows?
Cool.
Who knows? It's at least I think even with the way the season has gone, I still think like Kevin and AB and these guys are competent, adults. It's not going to be as like Hugh Jackson.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That was like watching a circus.
That was great.
The
talent.
great. Some of the things have not worked out this year, but I think inside the building, it's still competent people that recognize there's been issues and they can fix it. That was the circus, and I don't think it's going to be that, but it is going to be interesting to watch for sure. This came from Quincy. Since week 8, Jameis has the 11th highest PFF grade. He's number 2 in total passing yards, number 5 in first downs. Watson was 26 was his highest PFF grade or rank, like in any given week. He was 30th in passing yards and 24th in first downs. It wasn't all on the quarterback, but the team has gotten better since the quarterback change was forced to happen.
Yes.
There's no doubt.
Oh, 100%.
And the offense in general is significantly better because, like we mentioned, we might be 2-2 in that time frame, but the offense, at least the passing offense, put up 400 yards.
Yeah, it wasn't the offense out there letting Taysom Hill do whatever he wanted against us. That was the defense. Yeah, dude, I think this year just Deshaun Watson's not. He can't be the quarterback anymore. So we got to either stick with Jameis for another year, maybe draft a young guy to develop or something. But honestly, I would love to see a little consistency. Yeah. Just like re-sign Jameis and just let him have a year.
So here's, I guess, I'll pose this question to you guys. If you're going to bring Jameis back as the bridge, which we've talked about needing a bridge quarterback, whether it be Jameis or whether, it's Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr or Justin Fields is actually a name that I've actually fairly interested in. Would you then, if say we're drafting even in the top 10 or, top 5, because I'm excited that we won, but I'm not putting a lot of stock in this win. I still see a whole lot of
We
losses.
got to go to Denver.
Yeah, I still see a whole lot of losses in our future. Okay. There's a lot of time to get back, squeeze back into that top 5.
That's so fair.
Do you, even if you're going to use a bridge, Jameis or somebody, do you pick the quarterback and let him sit for a year in bridge, or do you get your bridge quarterback a weapon?
So I've done very surface level so far on the quarterbacks for this upcoming class. And obviously we haven't entered bowl season yet, playoff season in college football. This is where some guys kind of emerge and step up, and you start to see some names kind of get, thrown around for the draft and all that kind of stuff. But ain't a whole lot out there. I mean, I think Shador is a name and Cam Ward is the other. And outside of those two, I don't even know if it's worth wasting a high pick on a quarterback this year, even to let him sit. I think you get, like you said, get him a weapon. I like that Tet McMillan. I know a lot of people are high on him from Arizona, the receiver. Mm-hmm. I don't think Travis Hunter's not. You got to have like top 1 or 2 to get him, I think.
I'm torn. It's one of those things where if there's a guy you really love, then you got to get him. If you think he's the guy, then you have to do it.
Yeah.
Also, is Jameis a guy? Is he a bridge guy? I don't think Jameis is. I think Jameis is a backup quarterback.
You don't think he could Geno Smith this thing?
No. Now, he could prove me wrong. If he comes out in the next 7 weeks and plays really, really well, maybe I change. Maybe he can Geno Smith it, and then we go get him a weapon. But I just think if he kind of flounders and we lose all these games and he throws 2 picks in every single one of them and stuff, then it's like, one, I'm looking for a different bridge quarterback next year, probably.
Right, true.
You know what I mean? And then I'm taking one of those guys if I really think they're the guy. So I think the next what is it, 6 or 7 weeks, like they're kind of big for Jameis's future. Right now, as we sit, I don't think he's that guy. I think he's played okay, but we've seen like the good of him and we've seen the bad of him.
That's Jameis Winston.
You know what I mean? But we also talked about when he was in New Orleans and he really cut down on the turnovers in that starting stretch before his injury. We play some very good teams down the stretch and some very good defenses. If he can play well in the next 7 weeks, maybe he can change my mind. That is what I'm saying. Like, don't, in 7 weeks, if he plays well, don't be like, you said you didn't want him. No, I'm saying he's got to prove it to me in the next 7 weeks. And I think he's got a chance to do that. But I just started thinking about it. I think the Browns, running back is going to be in play too. And I really like that guy out of Boise.
Genty.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Or even in like a third round, a Travion Henderson or something.
Yeah, I would say if you do a high pick on like a Genty, then you better get yourself an offensive coordinator who wants to run the ball and not Ken Dorsey, because that would be a total waste.
No, I'm not taking Genty in the first, but I'm thinking if we got him in early second,
later on,
or something like that. Some of the drafts I've seen was like a Shador in early, and then we took a Mecca Ibuka early second. I would freaking. Go nuts.
We'll see how it drafts. I just feel like Ibuka is going to end up being a first round pick, but he might fall out. He might fall into the second.
It'll be close. He's been overshadowed a lot, and the Buckeyes offense has been so inconsistent.
Jeremiah Smith is just so freaking.
He's so awesome.
Gosh, he'd be a top pick now.
Yes, yeah. And he's freaking 18 years old.
He's a freshman. It's unreal.
How big of a piece of shit am I? Yeah.
You just don't exactly have the athletic gifts that he has. That's
true.
All.
I wasn't blessed. Speaking of Jameis, though, in the final 2 minutes of games this year, he's 10 of 15, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 8.4 yards per attempt, and 2 game-winning drives.
Okay.
I'm telling you, and the thing is, I don't even think our offense is good. Like the offensive scheme, the system, I think it's all pretty much shit.
I think Jameis would thrive so much better in last year's offense.
Oh my God. Yes, exactly. If he could stick him in what Flacco was doing last year, and I think he might even be better because Jameis has not thrown or not committed the turnover. I mean, Flacco was good for 2 a game.
Yes.
2.5 a game, I think, is what he averaged. And Jameis, he had the bad game against the Chargers, and the 1 pick last night, which that one was just kind of...
It almost looked like miscommunication. He threw to the outside, and I think it was Elijah Moore broke to the inside. So it was either miscommunication... a terrible throw. I don't know.
It didn't even look like it came out right.
Yeah, obviously the elements. So,
Are we talking about blaming it on the weather now?
no, I'm just
No.
I'm
just saying, I think
kidding.
for the situation last night, I thought Jameis played a very good game. And then like that touchdown where he pinwheeled himself into the,
that's awesome.
You know, that was
helmet
sweet.
breaks. And
But
it was
I was
awesome.
like freaking out on the couch watching because he pump faked like 4 times. And
I thought he was going to get sacked.
He kept
from the,
looking for people. I'm like, just run the ball. It's right, the goal line's right there. Just go. And he finally did. But I was like, quit looking for somebody.
I think you would see him cut down on so many turnovers if we went back to the offense that we were running last year.
If we could run the ball too, that
we could run the ball,
yeah.
or at least had the threat. You know, like I said, everything looks the same. I think a Ken Dorsey offense it's all on the quarterback. You have to. It's Kevin's offenses were always like quarterback proof.
Yeah,
you know, it was you put him in here to minimize the importance of your quarterback. You're running this offense because maybe you don't have a Patrick Mahomes or a Lamar or anything like that. A Ken Dorsey offense is for a Cam Newton and a Josh Allen. It puts it all on the quarterback. Well, I think if you do that, that's where you're going to see Jameis. You're going to see the best of both worlds with Jameis. You're going to see him, throw for 400 yards, or you're going to see the Chargers game. And I think if we went back to just Kevin's style of offense, I think Jameis Winston, like you said, we could see the explosiveness of the Joe Flacco Cleveland Browns offense with significantly less turnovers. I'm not saying he's going to throw 40 touchdowns in 4 picks, but he was on pace to throw for like 30-6 when he was in New Orleans that year, 30-8, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think that could be our offense. Like I would 100%. I'm bringing back the entire coaching staff with the exception of one guy.
Yeah.
Most likely. Like I know a lot of people have been out on the special teams this year. I think that has more to do with some of our depth than coaching. Bubba Ventrone's still known as a very good special team.
I'm seeing his name getting floated around for head coaching
positions
next year. I'm like, really? Okay. So maybe you're right about the lack of depth
I think
on our team.
Jim Schwartz is obviously still a good there's things that frustrate the shit out of me about a Jim Schwartz defense. But overall, it's a good enough defense for us to win football games.
If we had a competent offense consistently, we'd be totally fine. We saw that last year.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool last night that they made obviously they got to find stuff to talk about before the game, but Jameis had never played in a game this cold before, never played in the snow. And he came out before the game and said, you're not a Cleveland Brown until you beat the Steelers.
Yep.
And he did it all last night. So I was very happy for Jameis. It was just good to see. I love seeing these guys embody the Brown.
He was
come out
having
and play
fun
like
last
that.
night, man. He was having a blast.
Yeah.
Again, Kenny Mack, we got about 5 minutes left. Get us some super chats. Let's get Kenny Mack up to $100 so we can donate that to him. I don't like begging you guys for money, but this isn't for us. This is for Kenny Mack.
We're $30 away.
$30 away from getting to do a $100 donation for Kenny Mack's Movember campaign. So help us out. Super chat, YouTube memberships. It's all going to him. I thought another guy who actually played a really good game who caught a lot of shit in the last week was Juan Thornhill.
Sure.
And I saw a video of him basically owning up to jogging on that play.
Good.
And I was like, it doesn't erase jogging on the play and the fact that you haven't been what we wanted you to be since you've been here. But it was good to see a guy come out and take ownership of it and then go out and play hard. So many times these players will get called out for doing something like that, and then they go on Twitter and make excuses for themselves.
Well, I mean, his Instagram post wasn't exactly endeared by the fans. He just posted, it was like the next day he posted a clip of Forrest Gump running, and he said, "This will be me on Thursday."
Well, I mean, he was right. Maybe
it might be I
feel like, I know.
I think a lot of people took it like smart ass.
Yeah. Well, he said, I don't think it was because he played pretty well yesterday. Honestly, it might have been his best tackling game as a Cleveland Brown.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. I liked seeing him actually take ownership. So, I mean, we see guys get on here and then they start chirping with fans. You don't know what you're talking about. You're on the field, and thank God. I just was happy to see him come out and be like, that was bad. I shouldn't have done that.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what we've been missing a lot of, but
Tony with another $20. Somebody help Tony out. Thank you, Tony. We need $10 to get to $100 for Kenny Mack. So let's help him out. We got a couple more minutes here. We want to get him to that $100 mark.
I did want to, just real quick, I just wanted to mention it. Obviously, I love Chief. I love David Njoku, but dude, catch the freaking ball. I know it's snowing. I know it's wet out there and everything, but he had that wide open. This is before Jameis had to go do his rushing touchdown, but
killed my fantasy team.
Why? I mean, the thing is,
Cedric told me
it sucks because it's wide open, and I tell people all the time, every week, I'm like, he's good for one a game, one wide open drop where it just hits him in the hands, hits the ground every week, and it just happened last night. It was in the end zone, wide open, and then turn around on the 2-point conversion, catches the most difficult pass imaginable, lands on his head, gets crunched, and I'm like, just catch the easy one.
I feel like this kind of came out of nowhere in terms of we talked about it on the show before. He had a lot of drops early in his career, like his first year, but then he had pretty much fixed that. Thank you, Rick. We appreciate you. $100.
Thank you guys.
To everybody who helped out. Thank you guys so much. I know Kenny
Gnome pushing us over the top.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh, Chef Brian pushing us over the top. You guys are awesome.
Thank you guys so much. That's awesome. I think that's up to $120 now to donate to Kenny. So thank you guys so much. But I lost my Njoku.
Yeah.
He I feel like this season all of a sudden, like he's good for one. It's like the last couple of years, he's been pretty sure-handed. I felt like maybe a drop every now and then, but where's this? I don't know where it came from.
Yeah,
it's almost Greg Little syndrome.
Oh,
where
man.
Greg Little used to drop the layups and then he'd go out and make a circus catch over three guys. I almost feel like when he's covered, it's like maybe he loses focus because when he's covered, he's zoned in. Oh, I got two guys on me. I got to go up and make this great play. And when he's wide open, it's just like, is he worried about run after the catch? Is he worried about, is he just a lack of focus because he's, doesn't have to work for it? I don't know what it is, but it's frustrating. Now, Chief is arguably my favorite Browns player. So
yeah,
I'm not
trying to talk shit and dog him, but it is frustrating because every week, and it's not just once or twice here and there, it's every week.
Yeah. I don't know where it came from. It's just I just kind of chalked it up to that's just the way this season is going, apparently.
That's fair.
But what about what was it, Blake Whiteheart? Is that him? The guy we called up from the practice squad?
They've been on the team for 8 minutes.
That freaking catch where he went up and tipped it to himself and came down with it. That was a huge play in the game. And I thought Akins stepped up last night and had some big plays too. So, man, some of those Jeudy catches on third and fourth down. Well, not third down, but, fourth down where we needed to pick it up and
good chemistry.
Just getting it done, man.
Akins was second on the team in receiving.
Yeah.
3 catches, 38 yards on 4 targets. What I like, Jeudy was 6 catches on 6 targets. Akins 3 catches on 4 targets. Whiteheart was 1 catch on 1 target. Tillman 2 catches on 4 targets. Elijah Moore 3 catches on 5 targets. The only guy who had targets and not a lot of catches was David Njoku. He was one catch on 5 targets. Pretty much everybody else, if the ball came to him, they were catching it.
I'll tell you what, I mean, I was just very impressed with Jameis Winston, the way he was able to facilitate, even when the elements got bad the second half of the game, when it got really nasty out there. Yeah. There were situations where I thought Ken Dorsey was doing some bonehead stuff, like throwing when I was like, dude, just run the ball. I know we can't run it very well, but there were certain moments where we needed to kill some time and do some things that, I don't know. I'm not impressed one bit with him. But overall, Jameis, I don't know, man. Couldn't ask for a whole lot more last night.
Just another guy that comes in and is wildly successful.
So we're gonna wrap it up, but I want to ask you guys before we get out of here. Obviously excited about the win. What do you think? Does it change your outlook at all for the season? Or do you see us? Is it 3-14 now?
I'm gonna try something
because when I was looking at the schedule, I thought to myself,
no more wins.
Right. And then we feels like we come out here and we steal one. So do we steal more or are we looking at 3-14? I found the solution is in our pick'em league. If I pick the Browns to lose, we win. So I'm just going to start picking us to lose every week. And maybe you
should have done that a little sooner.
Yeah, I wish you would have done that like
fine.
week 2.
I'm of the belief I'm not going to put much stock into this, and I'm not going to get my hope up because I don't want to be hurt again. Okay. We got to wrap. If we come out, I told a guy I worked today, I said, if we come out and we beat Denver, maybe I'll perk up.
I'm perked up.
That's a road game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Defense on the road, not good.
My ears might. I'll look like a dog.
Holy crap! Yeah, who are those guys?
You know, if we come out, we beat Denver. Maybe I'll start to perk up a little bit, and then who's after Denver? Is it the Chiefs?
No, it's the Steelers again.
Steelers again in Pittsburgh. If we somehow manage to win that game, so if we stack, so we got to stack about 4 wins in a row for me to really. Because until that, let's be honest, if we beat Denver and then we beat the Steelers, going to 3, I'm going to be like.
We're going to the playoffs.
We're not done yet.
We're not leaving.
But I'm not going to throw all my faith and my trust into that. I got to see it now. I'm not doing this again. I'm too guarded. My walls are up. You know,
I'm like you, bro. I'm 100% on board with you. I'm very guarded right now. And I had fun last night watching the game.
Yeah.
But I had zero expectations going in.
Exactly.
For the first time in a long time, I was like, we might lose by 4 touchdowns or we might win like 17-13. I don't know what the hell is going to show up.
It's like when I go see a movie that I'm like, I don't think this looks that great. And then I leave it and I was pleasantly surprised.
Yes.
And that wasn't a great movie, but I kind of enjoyed watching it.
I enjoyed watching that.
That's
Might
how
watch that again.
Yes, that's how I felt about last night. I was like, oh, this was kind of nice.
I think if they just look like fun and competitive and like the last 6 or 7 games that they have left, because it's a tough schedule. Like, I'm not saying it's like a metric test, but like, see how you stack up against the Chiefs. See how you stack up against Baltimore again and Pittsburgh again and Cincinnati again, Miami. Like, there's an opportunity. See what you have in your talent on your team.
So realistically, for me, expectations: Denver, tough,
brutal
on the road in Denver. We never play really well out there anyway.
Fair.
They got a great defense, and ours does not travel well at all. And then we go to Pittsburgh. I would put a little more faith in any of our AFC North matchups because we just seem to always play those games tougher. Mm-hmm. It's just a different bird when you're playing AFC North. So you got that, the Ravens game at the very end, which they'll probably be, benching a lot of guys or not playing their starters, depending on how their season's ending. And then I think we could go down to Cincinnati and give the Bengals a game. We always seem to. But like the Chiefs at home, in my head, I'm almost picturing a redo of the Chargers game. Like that could be.
Because they're so biggest
good.
thing is their offense hasn't been great, but their defense is so good. It's like, what can we expect out of our offense?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Chargers offense isn't like explosive, but I mean, a couple big plays. It's all it took.
And they got Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
Dude.
And the Dolphins game, I'm like, how do I feel about the Dolphins? We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel.
Like you said, just play competitive,
Let's have fun.
I want to be a competitive fan with my team.
I don't want to be stressed out and upset.
Yeah, no, that's why
last night.
That's why I'm not putting any. Yeah, if we win, we win. Yeah. If we lose, I expected it.
And were you guys like this? Okay, so before the game started last night, I told my wife, she's like, oh, okay, how's this game going to go? I said, you know what? The season's pretty much over for the Browns anyway, so honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to be upset tonight. It's going to be fine. And we're partway through that game. She's like, I can't tell you how many times she looked at me and said, I thought you weren't going to get upset tonight. I thought you weren't going to be stressed out about this game. I'm like, well, they're actually winning and playing well. And now I just want to beat these guys because I hate the Steelers.
Very fair.
It'll be very Cleveland of us. We'll go on like a little mini win streak here, win 3 games in a row, and I'll be all the way back in, and then we'll lose out.
Honestly, what would make my season
to screw everything up. Just completely Cleveland.
Like I said, they'll give me a little bit of hope, and I'm like, we're back. And then we'll lose 4 straight, and I'll just be like, fuck.
What would make my season awesome right now is if we just kicked off the Steelers implosion.
Yeah.
Like the slide. Like they go on a 5-game losing streak.
Like we did the year that we beat them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They were undefeated.
Honestly, watching them last night and then looking back at their season so far made me really realize they're not this 8-2 superpower team. Like they're getting by on, I don't want to say lucky, but they're winning close games, Oh, Kenny Mack's supporting to himself. All right. Love you, Kenny.
Donating. It's actually going to be less because he donated 20 Canadian dollars. So we're going to have to give we'll give him $16 back. Now I will say this about the Steelers. I'm pretty sure I saw before the game they have the most wins against like current playoff teams. So of their 8 wins, I think 5 of them are against current playoff teams or something. So they've played a tough schedule and they're 8-3. So.
Yeah, but didn't they get like the Broncos early or something? And
Andrew Jackson with the 1999 donation. I like it.
These guys are awesome.
We'll cover the penny.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. That was awesome.
Yeah, we'll round it up.
Yeah. So that put us up to, if you count Kenny's, what, 140, 150 bucks? Thank you guys. That's awesome. I think that's a good note to end it on.
Absolutely.
So again, we appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with us for a Victory Friday. We probably, unless Josh has plans to do some stuff, I don't think we're planning on doing another full episode until probably late next week.
Right.
We don't play again until Monday night.
So on Monday night, after the weekend, we'll air the interview with Greg Pruitt. Awesome episode. We talked a lot about the current team and everything, got his perspective on a lot of things. Really fun guy. So don't miss that. That'll be Monday night. I think Wednesday I probably will do just a quick little update after the weekend and all that kind of stuff, and just wish everybody happy Thanksgiving and all that kind of stuff. But
so for me, have a good holiday, because I probably won't see you until afterwards. Again, we appreciate you guys being here for Victory Friday, hanging out with us. Huge shout out to everybody who donated tonight to Kenny Mack in his Movember campaign. If you are interested in donating and you didn't do any of the super chats tonight, that's perfectly fine. Pinned in the chat is the link. You can go there and make the donation yourself if you prefer. Let's help Kenny. We got about 2 weeks left of November, a week and a half to help him get to his goal. So we don't want to come up short. So again, thank you to everybody who did donate. That's awesome. We got way more than I expected us to.
yeah, you guys are the best.
Yep. Again, we appreciate you guys being here. Have a good, fun, safe holiday. Go Browns. Woo woo.
Absolutely.
Ooh.